Hey all, that one first video I did, I didn't realize that my cover on my camera, FaceTime kind of camera, was making it all blurry. So this one should be clear. I'm doing an update on the TK07. Right, it is not waterproof. The receiver in this box, there is no seal around the box, and there is no seal on the electrical connections. So any water gets in there, it could damage the receiver. And looking at the speed control, I dealt in there with my glasses and whatnot, and I wouldn't trust that. That's a bummer. I really like this vehicle, but it is not waterproof. Like I said earlier in the last video, sticky stuff, they didn't push it down hard enough or whatnot. At least it didn't get enough dust and crap on it to come loose. So after it got warm, I got a wood stove right here. It got warm, I pushed it down and got it stuck good, and it seems to be holding. I took the shocks off. Shock oil was so thick, and they didn't have a lot in it. So I poured it out, and I put 40 weight in there. And I like the 40 weight. I mean, it was so stiff before. This is still seems stiff, and I got the shocks extended all the way out. And much better. It was really thick stuff. I poured it back in the bottle I had. And looking at it, at research of their vehicles, this is not the original servo that was supposed to come with it. So, I mean, it is a Chinese company, so you might be getting screwed a little bit. I did get some new tires on the way. I went with the MK07 tires, I believe it is. The Jeep tires that they make, they're a little bit wider and a little bit fatter, longer. They might not fit because of these turnbuckles here. But we'll try it. Still haven't got the skid plates yet. But I do have a first person view set up where you got the goggles and it's head tracking. I'm going to cut out the windows. The windows, I've tried a camera in there and you're not going to see clearly. You're going to have to cut out the windows if you want to do the first person view. But I believe it is small enough and whatnot that it will fit in there, and your head tracking will be able to look out the windows. I think it'll be badass. But major things I dislike about the craftsmanship is no seal, and this is not waterproof. I got in there with my magnifying lens with some glasses, and it is not sealed enough for it to be waterproof. Get enough water, there's a little mismanufacturing or anything that would fail. Probably best would be change it out. A brush motor can go underwater. That's the greatest thing. That's how I usually break them in. I'll throw them in water in WD-40. I soak them in WD-40. Then I dip them in water and run them real slow. Then zip it up. I put them in my Sonic cleaner too. That works great. It's zipping. Sonic cleaner solutions. Gets those brushes seated. They work great. They got a lot more power and they're a lot more consistent in the beginning. Yeah, this receiver box has no seal around it. Another thing is I was just playing with it, is At the low and high seem to get stuck. So don't go cranking it when you switch it into low or let it into high, because it might not be set in. So just tap it a little bit to get it into gear. But overall, yeah, I paid a little bit for it, and put my own motor and whatnot in it. But this is a 775 motor. It looked a lot bigger. That's why I didn't say anything in the first video. It looked a lot bigger than the 775 motor. It does still look bigger. I don't have my original 775 motor for my Traxxas. I put the DeWalt motor in there, and I put that 775 motor in my Ryobi circular saw to make it work again. The magnets broke on it, so I threw that motor in there, which fit perfect, and it does a great job for my circular saw. I can't remember the size of that 775. This looks a little bit bigger. I could be wrong. Yeah, definitely go through your shocks, go through all your nuts and screws. And I found a ton of loose screws, and they weren't in all the way and whatnot. It's China. But I really liked the body style and the size, so I had to do it. The LEDs rock. To get your LEDs to shut off, you got to get to a certain point on the controller, and you got to tap it fast. That will, you'll see the lights. They'll dim and completely go, but it doesn't turn off your turn signals or your brake lights. It'll turn off everything except for when you go in reverse, the brake lights will kick on your turn signals. This bottom switch here, it's nothing. It's an open circuit. I haven't even messed with these guys yet. I think they're open. In the manual, it said open circuit on these guys. And the controller, I didn't even know it opened up. But I found the trim, whatnot, steering. There is switches here. Do not touch those unless you know what you're doing. Tiny little switches, you're going to mess things up. But yeah, this is a pretty cool vehicle. I think it's definitely worth it. I would buy the brushless version. I'm kind of regretting it. The brushless version, you get the brushless and the water. That ESC with the brushless is waterproof. Supposedly the motor is waterproof. I seen somebody open it up and it looked to be waterproof. But the receiver is the most important part. If it's not waterproof, it cuts out everything. So you can do is try to find a O-ring, or make your own O-ring, and then silicone this and squish it down. But it's definitely not sealed. The receivers most likely are waterproof, and this one is not. So don't believe the book and the shit they say. Other than that, everything else is pretty good. Everything is nice and tidy. Wires all wrapped. There is, over time, you're going to want to adjust your servos here for the locking diffs. The wires will get loose over time. That would be a long time. I haven't opened up anything else, but yeah, don't trust China, but it's still a fucking badass vehicle. And I changed the fluid out. 40 weight was so much better. They had some really thick stuff in here. When I pushed down, it was like, I thought it was just cold. I mean, it was in the house for an hour after negative 30 degrees. And yeah, I'm sure it was still cold, but it's definitely got a twist to it. I'm pretty sure it had like 100 and some weight in there. When I poured out, I had to sit there and wait for that stuff to come out. I tried squeezing it, trying to get everything out. I used Team Losi, or no, what the hell is it called? I had some old chocolate oil from back in the past. Team Losi, maybe? No, can't remember. But some old stuff I had, and it was purple. Team Associate, that's what it was. I had some purple 40 weight, and I think that 40 weight is perfect for this. And that cracking sound you get is the body bumping against this bar here. And there's really no way you can fix it except for trim the body down here. And what it's doing is it's getting into here and just cranking, making sounds. It doesn't bother me much. One thing I like about it is these windows are the clearest windows I've ever seen on an RC car. But I had a cheap camera I put in there, and it was distorted. So it's not going to work. Yeah, that was a bummer. And the fucking thing got super hot. I was like, I started smelling electrical stuff. Like, yeah, I want to send that back. So I went and spent $600 on something real. But I'm gonna most likely cut out the windshield and the side windows. And I'm gonna set that sucker right in the middle. It should fit right in there. And it's the head tracking unit from hell. I'm not good at remembering things. Walker or something. Yeah, I definitely want to take this thing for runs. I'm definitely going to try to figure out a receiver that can do about a mile or so. Change that up. So I can actually sit in my freaking living room and go over to neighbors' houses miles away. That'd be nice. I'm bidding on a GI Joe right now on an auction here in our town. Somebody bid higher. I gotta look at it. I know GI Joe is a lot bigger than whatnot. I was figuring I'd cut them in half or whatnot. Put them in here. Trying to figure out the size that I need, because the steering wheel is right up on the seat, and I mean you'd have to spread leg figure to even get him in there, even if there was room for his legs. So it's not a bad view, but I'm just trying to tell you my points of views. Definitely go with a little bit bigger tires. Rolalo has a bigger tire on their MK7, I believe it is. It's a few millimeters bigger on the wide and a few millimeters bigger on the width side of it. Don't go with the Proline 2.2 and Swamper Mudders or whatever it is. They're going to be too big. They're not. They're going to mess things up. I see a lot of people saying, "Yeah, do that," but the turnbuckles here. I mean, you're inside. It's going to rub, and I've already seen a video where the guy said it was rubbing the shit out of the tire. Well, that's my take on this little guy. And I'm definitely thinking you should get the 14-volt battery. I did more research because I was getting the brushless version. I was figuring this was going to be a cheaper version, so I didn't want to blow it and fuck it up, kind of thing. But obviously, I would go with the brushless. I always liked brush. I mean, I grew up with brush. They're cool. You want to break them in? We used to always just throw a ton of WD-40 in the water, thick freaking motor down in there, and run it slow, and you'll hear it. And then crank it, and you see the water just turn gray. That's what I think I like, because they can get in the water. You're not worried about it. But if these things can't get in the water, you're screwed. Definitely going to try to fix that part and probably get something different here. That's my take on it. Thank you much. Peace out.